Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie back at you today with another beer review. And what I'm looking at is the UFO Pumpkin. Real pumpkin, seasonal spices, and fresh from the patch flavor. This beer, I believe, was introduced originally in 2011. It is obviously a fall uh, release. It is brewed in Boston, Massachusetts, and Windsor, Vermont, by the Mass Bay Brewing Company. UFO, same brewery where they make Harpoon beers. So Harpoon and UFO made by the same brewery. Um, I've had some of the UFO beers, had some of the Harpoon beers. Generally, very good stuff. As a matter of fact, I can't think of a beer that I've had from either one of them that has not been at least good. I've never had their pumpkin beer. This is a Hefeweizen with pumpkin and, of course, spices added. Employee-owned brewery. So I think this one's going to be a little bit different than the Blue Moon Harvest pumpkin wheat that I had earlier. It's already looking different. It's a lot lighter in color, very hazy. It looks like more of a standard Hefeweizen type beer. Very hazy, although there's nothing floating around in there. The carbonation, light to medium on the appearance anyway. The head, just slightly off-white, very creamy looking, very good looking. The aroma, you're picking up on that pumpkin pie aroma. Pumpkin by itself really doesn't have too much smell or taste. It's the pumpkin pie spice mix, or the spices that they use: nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon, sometimes vanilla, all of that stuff that they add in there that gives it that pumpkin pie flavor. Because a pumpkin is a squash, and on its own, really not much going on. Seasonal spices. Doesn't actually say exactly what spices they use. I did check out their website briefly. They might have some more information to exactly what goes into this beer. Very nice website. You can look up all of their beers. Very detailed and a good layout for their website. So anyway, finally got all the beer in there. Looks really good. Already gave you guys the aroma. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Cheers, guys. That's really good. It's a lot different than the Blue Moon, though. The Blue Moon Pumpkin. This one's a little bit sweeter. I think maybe some of the flavors that you get with a traditional Hefeweizen are kind of coming through on this one a little bit more. This is really enjoyable. I can tell you that right now. A little bit more clove, nutmeg. For 5.9%, this is very light bodied. Hefeweizen beers are typically going to be light bodied anyway. I've had, let's see, the Weinstefaner Vitus, I think was 7% alcohol, and that one was super light bodied. You could drink that down really easily and get into a lot of trouble. Definitely didn't taste like a 7% beer. The Hefeweizens are just brewed so, or I want to say so well, but however they're brewed, all of the Hefeweizens, regardless of the ABV, tend to be relatively light bodied, and the alcohol masked very well. This one at 5.9, you're not going to expect any alcohol to come through really anyway. But I have had a lot of Hefeweizens at a higher ABV range that that's you don't realize it. Very enjoyable. There is a nice wheat, or not wheat. There is a nice breadiness in the middle of the sip. It is, I guess, a wheat beer. Hefeweizen beer. It's a wheat beer. There is a nice like brown bread crust breadiness in the middle of the sip. Um, it drops off pretty nicely on the back end. It's not a super dry finish, but it's a semi-dry finish. These, of course, are not going to be as dry as your, standard American adjunct lagers, light beers, stuff like that. It is hazy. It does have, it's not super filtered, but there's not any sediment or anything floating around in here either. It's very well crafted, very, very enjoyable. This one is just as good as the Blue Moon, but it's a lot different in the flavor profile. So I would recommend that you try them both. If you like pumpkin beers, this is one to go for sure. I'm not sure exactly what the price point is. I would say maybe between $8 and $10 for a 6-pack. I bought a single though in a mix your own variety pack that I got. So I'm not exactly sure what the price point is, but I have seen some of their beers and the different configurations that they have, and they're typically pretty reasonably priced for a good craft beer like this. That is really good. It's got a nice little kick to it, a little sharpness to it. Maybe a little cinnamon in there as well. I definitely pick up on the nutmeg, clove, allspice. Maybe a little cinnamon in there as well, which I wasn't necessarily picking up on the Blue Moon pumpkin wheat, but I'm getting a little something extra with this one. I think it's cinnamon. I think that's what I'm getting. And it adds a little bit more sweetness to it as well, which I wasn't getting with the Blue Moon pumpkin. Not to say that it's better or worse. It's just a little different. This one is excellent as well. And I really can't. It is crisp, clean, and refreshing too. You could drink a few of these, no problem. I think you'd really enjoy it as a nice sessionable alternative to a standard beer. And of course, here we are in October. It goes great this time of year. Just if you want to live in the moment, get festive. This would be a great beer to drink. It's very, very enjoyable. I'm gonna go. I can't really say that it's better than the Blue Moon Pumpkin. I can't say it's worse, so I'm gonna give it the same rating. It's a 95 out of 100 for me. It is definitely an excellently crafted product. I'm very, very pleased with this and surprised because I've had a lot of pumpkin beers. Most of them don't live up to this level of quality. The Blue Moon Harvest Pumpkin is at the top of that list for me because of the sessionability um, and the just overall enjoyability. This one is right up there with it. It's very well made, and it's not going to cost you as much as your Southern Tier, your Dogfish Head, some of the other pumpkin beers that are on the market. I don't think you're going to be let down with this. Really, really enjoyable. So if you haven't already and you can find these beers in your area, go check out the UFO pumpkin beer. Um, Really, really enjoyable stuff. I highly recommend it. If you don't like pumpkin, stay away from it. But if you like pumpkin pie and those types of flavors in a good seasonal brew, then I think you're really going to love this. So that'll do it for this beer review, guys. 95 out of 100 for the UFO pumpkin. Until next time, everybody. Cheers.